Every person you admire for their confidence has one thing in common. They stopped performing for rooms that weren't paying them, and you haven't. Not because you're weak, because your brain is running a program you never agreed to install, and it's been looping so long you think the noise is your own voice. This video is about the neurochemical leash that most people will wear until they die. It's about the specific circuit in your brain that converts other people's approval into something your body processes identically to a drug. And it's about why everything you've tried to fix this, the affirmations, the I don't care what people think posture, the fake stoicism has made it worse. Stay here for 20 minutes. I'll show you the mechanism, and I'll hand you the one move that actually severs the loop. Here's what you've been told. You've been told that caring too much about what people think is a confidence problem, a self-esteem issue, something you fix by repeating that you're enough, by standing in front of a mirror and saying words you don't believe until repetition beats your doubt into submission. That's the model, and it's structurally wrong. It's wrong because it treats validation seeking as a thought pattern when it's actually a metabolic event. You're not thinking your way into needing approval. Your body is demanding it the same way it demands food after 40 hours without eating. You can't affirmation your way out of a neurochemical deficit any more than you can think yourself full. The confidence industry has made billions selling you the wrong tool for the wrong problem. They've handed you a hammer and told you the issue is a nail, but it's not a nail. It's a circuit. And until you understand how that circuit fires, you'll keep swinging at air and wondering why nothing changes. Let me show you what's actually happening inside your skull when you post something and check your phone 11 minutes later. There's a structure deep in your midbrain called the ventral tegmental area. You don't need to remember the name. You need to understand what it does. It's the origin point of your brain's dopamine pathways, and it doesn't care about truth. It cares about prediction and reward. When you take an action and receive a social signal that you're accepted, valued, or admired, this area fires. Dopamine floods your nucleus accumbens, the same region that lights up in cocaine users during a hit. That's not metaphor. That's an fMRI scan. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between the neurochemical signature of social approval and the neurochemical signature of a drug. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Your brain doesn't just respond to the reward. It builds anticipation architecture around it. Every time you've received a like, a compliment, a laugh at your joke, a text back within seconds, your prefrontal cortex has been quietly encoding the conditions that preceded the reward. What you wore, what you said, what tone you used, how you angled yourself. And it starts preloading dopamine before the reward even arrives based on those conditions. This is called incentive salience, and it's the exact mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Your brain starts pulling the lever, not because the reward is guaranteed, but because the anticipation itself feels like something. You become addicted not to approval, but to the possibility of approval. And that's a cage with no visible bars. This is why you rehearse conversations in the shower. This is why you draft a text, delete it, rewrite it, show it to a friend, and then send the version that sounds most effortlessly unbothered. You're not being neurotic. Your brain is running optimization software on social outcomes because the dopamine system has flagged approval as a survival resource. And from an evolutionary standpoint, it was. 50,000 years ago, social rejection didn't hurt your feelings. It killed you. Exile from the group meant exposure, starvation, death. Your anterior cingulate cortex, the region that processes physical pain, activates during social exclusion. The same tissue, the same signal. Your brain processes a dismissive look from someone you respect using the same neural hardware it uses for a broken bone. You're not being dramatic when rejection ruins your day. Your body is responding to what it genuinely interprets as a threat to your survival. Carl Jung saw this over a century ago, long before anyone had a brain scanner. He called it the persona, the mask you construct not out of vanity, but out of necessity. Jung understood that the social self isn't decoration, it's armor. And the danger he identified wasn't that people wear masks. The danger was that people forget they're wearing one. They fuse with the persona. They mistake the performance for the person. And when the performance gets applause, the real self underneath starts to starve. Not metaphorically, neurochemically. Because the dopamine is flowing to the mask, not to you. Every reward you receive for a version of yourself that isn't actually you deepens the dependency while hollowing out the core. You get more addicted and more empty at the same time. That's not a paradox. That's the mechanism working exactly as designed. Here's what nobody tells you about this loop. It doesn't plateau, it escalates. Dopamine systems are built on tolerance. The same dose that worked yesterday doesn't work today. This is why the person who got a rush from 10 likes 2 years ago now needs 300 to feel the same flicker. This is why the person who used to feel validated by one friend's reassurance now needs to poll 5 people before making a decision. This is why you've noticed, maybe without naming it, that the things that used to make you feel confident don't anymore. The compliment that would have carried you through a week in high school barely lasts an hour now. Your receptor density has down-regulated. You need more signal to get the same internal response. And the only way to get more signal is to perform harder, wider, more constantly. You're not becoming more insecure with age. Your tolerance is increasing. You're chasing the same high with a brain that's progressively less capable of feeling it. And the withdrawal is real. That hollow feeling when you post something and it underperforms. That spike of anxiety when someone leaves you on read. That sick drop in your stomach when you walk into a room and nobody acknowledges you. Those aren't emotions. Those are withdrawal symptoms. Your dopamine system expected a hit and didn't get one. And the neurochemical crash that follows is identical in structure to what an addict feels when the supply is cut. You've been experiencing withdrawal your entire social life and calling it insecurity. There's a second layer that makes this worse, and almost nobody talks about it. Your brain doesn't just seek approval. It actively avoids disapproval with even greater intensity. Neuroscience calls this negativity bias, but that term is too clean for what's actually happening. Your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, responds roughly 5 times more powerfully to negative social signals than your reward system responds to positive ones. One critical comment outweighs 20 compliments, not because you're fragile, but because your threat architecture is literally 5 times louder than your reward architecture. This means the game is rigged from the start. You can't win by accumulating enough approval to drown out the criticism. The math doesn't work. One rejection will always burn through 5 acceptances. You're playing a game where the losses count 5 times more than the wins. and you've been wondering why you never feel like you're ahead. So now look at your life through this lens, and be honest, not with me, with the version of yourself that exists when no one's watching. There are two traps, and you're probably in one of them right now. The first trap is the performer. This is the person who's gotten good at it. You've optimized the mask. You know what to say, how to say it, when to laugh, when to hold back. People like you. They might even admire you. And the sickness of it is that every success tightens the chain because now you can't stop. You've built an identity that requires constant maintenance. You're not living, you're curating. And somewhere underneath, there's a version of you that hasn't spoken in years because it was never the version that got rewarded. The second trap is the withdrawer. This is the person who decided the game was too painful and quit. You call it independence. You call it not caring. But what you actually did was build a fortress around the wound and call it a philosophy. You didn't stop needing approval. You stopped risking the pain of not getting it, and the cost is that your world has gotten very small. You've mistaken numbness for peace. They aren't the same thing. One is a choice. The other is a scar that learned how to dress itself up. The narrow path between these two isn't balance. It's source. It's about where the signal comes from. The performer gets all signal from outside. The withdrawer cuts off all signal entirely. The person who's actually free is the one who's built an internal signal that's louder than both. Not louder through force, louder through repetition, through evidence they generated themselves for themselves when no one was recording. Here's the move. It's one behavior. You can start it tonight. And it doesn't require you to feel ready, because readiness is just another form of waiting for permission. Every day you do one thing that is hard, that is real, and that no one will see. That's it. One action that generates evidence of your own capability with zero external audience. You run and don't post about it. You write and don't publish it. You build something and don't show anyone. You sit with a difficult conversation inside yourself and don't call a friend to process it out loud. You complete something and let the completion be the entire reward. Here's why this works at the level of your brain, not your beliefs. When you perform a difficult action and receive no external feedback, your dopamine system has to close the loop internally. There's no outside signal coming. So your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-referential processing, has to generate its own assessment. It has to say, that was real, I did that. That counts. And every time that happens, you're building a new circuit. You're training your brain to source its reward signal from within. You're not killing the dopamine system. You're rerouting it, one rep at a time, one day at a time, one invisible act at a time. This is not about discipline. Discipline is what people talk about when they don't understand mechanism. This is about neuroplasticity. You are literally building new hardware. The validation circuit took years to wire. The sovereignty circuit will take months, but it compounds. The first week feels like nothing. The second week feels like friction. By the third week, something shifts. You start to notice that the old triggers, the unread message, the underperforming post, the room that didn't notice you, they still fire, but they fire quieter. And the internal signal, the one you built with your own hands in the dark, fires louder. That's not confidence. Confidence is a word people use when they don't have a better one. That's authority. Over yourself, over your own experience, over the only nervous system you'll ever operate. You clicked on this video because some part of you recognized the title as a mirror, not a headline. You didn't come here to learn about dopamine. You came here because you felt the weight of living for a response that never fills you up, and you wanted someone to explain why the glass never stays full. Now you know, the glass was never designed to hold it. It was designed to keep you pouring. So stop pouring into a vessel that leaks by design. Build the well instead. Build it in silence. Build it in private. Build it with actions so honest that they don't need a witness to be true. The person you're becoming doesn't need the room to clap. They just need the room to be quiet long enough to hear their own voice again. And that voice has been waiting. Not patiently, desperately. The way something waits when it knows it's running out of time. You're not running out of time, but you are running out of reasons to keep pretending the mask is your face. Take it off, not for anyone, for the thing underneath that's been suffocating. It doesn't need applause. It needs air.